Year 2, it is Friday the 22nd of January and this video is for the Key Stage 1 Maths Workbook Year 2. So just as we always say, just make sure if you've got the Year 2 book, you're watching the correct video. So we're on our final page of adding and subtracting this week. So we should be looking at page 10. So we're coming to the end of adding and subtracting. Hope you've done lots of super learning at home this week and we've really got to grips with adding and subtracting two-digit numbers. So question number 1 starts with fill in the missing number. Okay, now there are a couple of ways we can do this. I'm going to show you a couple of different methods that we can use to find the missing number. So the first way that I would teach you if we were in school is to do the opposite, so the inverse, the opposite operation. So the opposite of subtraction is what? So when we are adding, we are getting bigger, and when we are subtracting, we're getting smaller. So the opposite of subtraction is addition. So to find a missing number in a subtraction number sentence, I would show you how to use an addition number sentence to find the missing number. So, for example, the first one is 5 subtract something equals 2. So I'm going to think of a different number sentence to show you, to model you. So I'm going to do 9 subtract something. So it's the missing number that we've got to find. So 9 subtract something equals 4. Okay, so I've got on my whiteboard 9. Take away an amount, leaves 4 left. So a way of finding out my missing number is by using the inverse operation. So if we switch this number sentence around to addition, it will give us the missing number. So if we start with 4 here, and we do 4 add something equals 9. So we're working the number sentence backwards. So we start with 9 subtract something equals 4. It's this missing number here we're trying to find. But if we work the number sentence backwards, 4 take away something equals 9, which I've written underneath, and you can see I've gone backwards. So it's easier to work this out, which will give us the missing number for this here. Because as I tell my children, if we solve one number sentence with addition and subtraction, we get another number sentence for free because they're the inverse, the opposite of each other. So if I've got 4, how many more do I need to make 9? So put 4 in your head and then count until you get to 9 on your fingers. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I would need 5 more to add to 4 to make 9. So that then gives me the answer to my top number sentence, my subtraction number sentence that I was missing. 9, take 5 away, equals 4. You can check that now on your fingers. So I want you to also put 9 fingers up. Okay, so that's all of your fingers apart from 1. And I want you to take 5 down. And you should be left with 4, which shows our number sentence at the top is correct. 9, take away 5 is 4. If you think that's a bit tricky and that's a bit hard to use the inverse operation, another way of finding the missing number is, we'll do another example this time. We'll do 8 subtract something equals 3. So we've got 8 altogether. We take something away, and then that leaves us with 3. So what I'm going to do on my whiteboard, I'm going to draw 8 altogether. So what I started with, I'm going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I've drawn 8. And I'm going to circle what I know my answer is, what I'm left with. So I'm going to circle 3. So I know that that's what I'm left with. And then my missing number should be those that I took away to leave me with my answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know that if I've got 8, I'm left with 3. I know that it's 5 that I took away. So that's a little bit easier than thinking about the inverse operation. So it's 5 that I took away. So if I have 8 altogether, I take these 5 away. I'm left with 3. Okay, so that's a good tip or finding the missing number. Now, on the other two questions, on B and D, those are two-digit numbers. So you won't want to draw ones for those. You'd want to draw tens. So, for example, 70 subtract something equals 20. So there's an example. 70 takes something away, leaves me with 20. So I'm going to start by drawing 70. So how many tens would I need to draw 70? Just tell you're grown up. I would need 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So I've drawn my 7 tens there. You can count on the screen just to check. So I should have, see there? We should have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So that was my total that I started with. And then I know that in the end, my answer, I'm left with 20. But I want to know how many I took away to be left with 20. So I'm going to circle 20. So how many tens would I need to circle to make 20? 10, 22. So I'm going to circle the 20, which is my answer. And then what is left should give you how many have been taken away. So let's count together. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So there are 50 here, which means I must have taken 50 away to be left with 20. Okay, so that's a good tip of finding the missing number, moving on to two-digit numbers. So I started with 70, I took something away, and I was left with 20. So I circle the 20 that I was left with, so it must be the 50 that I've taken away. Okay, so moving on then to question 2. So let's have a look at question 2 this time. I'm going to show you again a couple of ways to work this out like we had earlier in the week. We've given you different methods that you can then choose to work it out. So the next questions say, answer these questions in words. So don't worry about too much about answering it in words for now. Let's worry about finding the correct answer. So the first one says 73 subtract 40. So I'm not going to do that one with you. I'm going to give you an example. So I'm going to do, I'll do 83 take away 50. So 83 subtract 50. Okay, so 83 subtract 50. So I'm starting with 83 and I'm taking 50 away. Just tell your grown up, how many tens am I going to be taking away then from 83? How many tens make 50? 5 tens. So I'm taking 5 tens away from 83. So a good way of doing it is like we have all week, is pictorially first. So starting pictorially, which means just drawing it, which I think really helps your understanding. I'm going to write my number sentence again, and I'm going to draw 83 this time. Okay, so how many tens will I need to draw? Now, I'm taking them away this time, not adding them together. So I don't need to draw 83 and 50. I want to draw 83 and then take the 50 away. So tell your grown up how many tens I need here. Now I need 8 tens, and then how many ones? 3 ones. Okay. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So I've got my 8 tens there, and then let me draw my 3 ones underneath. Okay, so I've drawn 83 there. Each one of those is a stick of 10. So to do that practically in school, I would have a tens dean, and that tens dean would be made of 10 little ones. So it's asking me to take 50 away. So how many tens am I going to cross off? Tell you're grown up. So I've drawn 83. I'm going to take away 50. So how many tens am I going to cross off? Just whisper to your grown up. I'm going to cross 5 tens off, aren't I? So we'll do it together. Hope you can see. So 83, take away 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I've taken away all of those tens now. Those are gone. So what am I left with? Tell your grown up, count what I'm left with. So count my tens first. 10, 20, 30. And then I haven't taken any ones away and I've still got my 3 ones down here. So my answer is what year 2? You should have told your grown-up my answer would be 33. So that's the first way we can do that. And then after you're a couple, you can then move on to having a go at using the column method. So we don't need to draw for this part. Remember, you are answering your number in words, but don't worry too much about that. Focus on trying to work out the actual problem first of all. So it does say, doesn't it, answer these questions in words, but don't worry too much about that. Focus on the problem. I'm going to show you now, like we have earlier in the week, for addition, of how to subtract, not just drawing it, but using the column method that we've looked at in school. So I'm going to do this time, I'm going to do 74 subtract 30. Okay, so I've just written it there as a regular number sentence, but now I'm going to write the same number sentence as column. And this way I can work out how to subtract, taking my ones away first and then my tens like we showed you earlier in the week. So I'm going to write my T and my O at the top. Just tell your grown-up what T and O stands for. I haven't got it behind me today, it's not on my board. So T and O stands for your tens and ones. Okay, and I've written it underneath. The same number sentence that's at the top, but I've written it as the column method. And I'm just telling your grown-up which column I must start with first of all. Yeah, the ones column here. So I'm not taking any ones away because we look at my number that I'm subtracting, 30, it hasn't got any ones. So 4, take nothing away, still leaves me with 4. Okay. So let's have a look at my tens column now. So I've got 70 take away 30. So 7 tens take away 3 tens. So we can put 7 fingers up and let's imagine these are 7 tens. They're not 7 ones, they're 7 tens. I've got 5, 6, 7. Okay, so pop 7 fingers up and I'm going to take away 3. So 1, 2, 3. So how many tens am I left with? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 tens, 10, 20, 30, 40. I'll write that then. Okay. And then you can tell your grown up what our answer is. So I did 4 take away 0 is 4, 70 take away 30 is 40, but of course I don't write the 0, that's hiding here. 7 tens take away 3 tens is 4 tens, 44. And my answer will be just the same here as well. So it's the same problem, but just written using a different method. So hopefully that's helped you to solve questions 1 and 2. And then remembering to write your answer in words, but you might need a little bit of help with that from your grown-up. Okay? So we can solve it pictorially by drawing it, or we can solve it using the column method. Okay, right, the final question then isn't too tricky on question 3. Okay, it says solve these word problems. Now these problems here are focusing more on the language. So it says 11 take away 6. 6 less than 17. So what does less than? Now we know on this page, we're subtracting for all of them. 16 subtract 8. Take 32 from 49. So I think these ones here you'll be okay with. So we can solve them by counting back in our head. Putting 11 our head, counting back 6, maybe using a number line, starting at 11 and jumping back 6. But at the bottom, this one's quite tricky. Take 32 from 49. So you could solve that one, like this was just modelled to you, doing 49, subtract 32, using your column method. But these three here are a little bit easier. 11 take away 6, 6 less than 17, and 16 subtract 8. Like Mrs. Wood said, we could draw them and cross them off. We could count back in our head, or we could use a number line and count back. Now, the bottom one is what Mrs. Wood referred to in question 1. It says, fill in the boxes to check 18 subtract 4 is 14. But the boxes underneath have got the addition symbol, and that's how we use the inverse to check. So I'm going to show you a couple more of those now. So we can use the opposite operation to check that our number sentence, our problem, is correct. So The example gives you 18 subtract 4, so I'll give you a different one. So I'm going to give you 20 subtract 5 equals. Okay. So 20 subtract 5 equals. So I'm going to put 20 in my head. 20. I'm going to get 5 fingers and I'm going to count forward. No, counting back, aren't I? Because we're subtracting. So 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. So I think the answer is 15. But I'm going to check my answer using addition. So I'm going to work backwards to check if my number sentence is correct. So 15 add 5 is 20. So just check. 15 and 5 equals 20. So does 15 and 5 make 20? 15 add 5 equals 20. Okay, so let's check. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It does. So I use the addition number sentence to check that my subtraction was correct. Okay. Right, so hope you're getting okay with that year two. It's been quite a tricky week this week. And actually, the addition and subtraction that we've done this week is what we would have moved on to in school when we were coming back after Christmas. This is really good practice. So remembering all the different methods that we've shown you and that you could use. And we're really keen to see your work coming in as well this week and over email. So send us pictures of the methods that you've been choosing. And if you need any help at all, please email us. That's what we are here for. Well done on another great week. And we'll see you next week where we're going to be moving on to multiplication and division. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.